Hi everyone. This week we will see tuples and dictionaries. My name is Dr. Mohammed Gölej from Boğaziçi University Computer Engineering Department. By the end of this chapter, you will be able to use tuples and understand when to prefer them over lists, apply tuples in function inputs and outputs, work with dictionaries, including checking and updating keys, read data from files into dictionaries, combine dictionaries with other data types. Okay, until this week, we saw integer, float, bool, string list, and this week we're gonna learn tuples and dictionaries. Let's start with tuples. A tuple is an ordered and immutable collection of elements. It is similar to a list but can't be changed after creation. Tuples are faster and memory efficient, ideal for fixed data, commonly used for structured or grouped data like coordinates, records, and supports tuple unpacking for clean variable assignments. Okay, if you remember from last week, we had an example like this, and if we define variables in tuple format, it is brackets, one float, one integer, and one string. Then if I define one string like this, and if I put with curly brackets like 2, 1, and 0, and end of the string, I am using this format function here, and to be able to return all variables with the index numbers 0, 1, and 2 in my string, I need to call my variables inside of format function here, and this time I will use this star sign. In that way, I can return all values inside of variables to my string. And if I print string, I will see the exact variable values instead of these curly brackets. To be able to understand better, we can go to Anaconda. Okay, first of all, I define variables and I define my string by using curly brackets. They are index numbers, and end of my string, I'm calling my function and I put star add variables. And if I print it, as you can see, these numbers are gonna change to exact values like Michelle 12,000 and 2.5 here and here. Okay, also, once we define a tuple, like in the screen here, again, it has some index numbers starting from 0, 1, and 2. To be able to print these values, I'm writing my variable name here and index number. So it's gonna return 2.5 for the element with index number 0. And for element index number 2, it's gonna, it's supposed to return Michelle here. And if we try to change any variables inside of tuples by using index numbers like we did in list before, we will see error. So you can use tuples to define values that should remain unchanged throughout the program flow. This helps prevent accidental modification of data and also improves memory efficiency. Again, if we go to Anaconda here, and if I try to change my variables by using index numbers like these, we will see error because tuple object doesn't support item assignments. And we can continue with slides. But if inside of my tuple variable, if there is a mutable object inside of tuple, then the content of that object can change. So it means, okay, let's say we are defining here one tuple called t variable, and I am putting one integer, one list, and one more integer. If I try to change this list, I can change it. So index numbers start in 0, 1, and 2, right? So first of all, I should go 1. It means here my list. And if I put here 0, it will change the number 2 here, the variable 2 with 99. Then if I print after this change in operation, I will see 1, 99, 3, and 4 inside of my tuple like this, right? But again, if I try to change a variable inside of my tuple, which is not mutable object, so I will say again error because integer is not a mutable object in Python. Okay, let's go Anaconda and see how it works. Again, same example. I define a tuple with integer values and one list, and as you can see, it is tuple. And if I want to change my list inside of this tuple, I can change it by using indexes like this. And if I try to change, let's say the first element inside of my tuple, it is integer, which is not mutable, so it's gonna give error, right? Okay, we solve them and we can continue with next page. If you want to assign multiple variables in a single line, you can conveniently do it using tuples. For example, here we are, okay, we have one tuple called info, and I'm putting Mohammed, comma, Golex strings, and one more integer value, right here. And again, if I define one tuple which has or which includes name, surname, and age, and if I want to print this name, it's gonna return Mohammed, and if I print surname, it's gonna return Golech or Golek. Likewise, if I print age, it's gonna return 31. We are using or we are preferring this kind of appointments once we have maybe 1 or 2 millions, a lot of different variables for short, right? Okay, if we go to Anaconda to see this example, again, I say, okay, info equal to Mohammed Connect 31. It is our tuple. And I have here again one more tuple, and I appoint all values inside of name, surname, and age from info. As you can see, it's working. And if you remember, we solved this split function in list topic. It was no list function. And let's say I have a string like website and it's equal to one full mail address. And I want to separate this mail by using @ symbol. And I want to put a point this John Smith, the name, surname, and the extension to username and domain inside of tuple. For this, we can use this function. It is split. Then if I print username, it's gonna return John Smith. If I print domain, it's gonna return github.io. Let's go to Anaconda and see how it works. Again, same. And tuples with function arguments. If you remember the very beginning weeks, which are where we talked or where we were talking about functions. Let's say we are defining one function to sum or add the values of number one and number two, and it's return the result of this calculation. And if I write print addition 2 and 3, it's supposed to return 5, right? But what if I send to addition function more than two different variables, like 2, 3, 5, 6? So it will give error, right? Because our function arguments just two, not more than two. So if I use tuples to send more than two, three, four variables to inside of my function here, we can use tuples. First of all, we should again put sign symbol and variable name. And if I write here, okay, I'm sending 2, 3, 5, and 6, then it will return the uh, total value of these variables. If we go to Anaconda again and to see what will happen. Okay, first of all, if I write 2 and 3 here, it's going to return 5, as you can see. But if I send more than two values, it's going to return error. And if I define a function to take multiple parameters or arguments inside of it, we can use tuples. To be able to use it, we use sign, the star sign, and variable name. Then if I set multiple values here, it's going to return 14. Again, likewise, if I want to find largest and smallest numbers inside of my parameters or arguments, again, I will use here tuple by using star symbol and variable. Then this max and min, it is maximum and minimum, are predefined functions. So you can use it as it is like this. And if I send these variables to inside of my function I defined before here, it's going to return the values with minimum and maximum. And we can return multiple values in function using tuples. Okay, we saw it. If I go to, okay, here, same example, I try to find maximum and minimum numbers. I define my function, I assign the values. Now we can continue with next topic. It is dictionaries. A dictionary in Python is a built-in data structure that stores data as key-value pairs. It is used to represent structured information, such as user data, configuration settings, or mappings. Each key must be unique and immutable, for example, strings, numbers, tuples. Values, on the other hand, can be of any type, like strings, lists, other dictionaries, or so on. Dictionaries are mutable, meaning their content, keys, and values can be added, modified, or deleted after creation. Internally, dictionaries use a hash table mechanism which allows very fast data retrieval using keys instead of numeric indexes. Okay, to understand better, let me explain more. Let's say we try to define a dictionary. It is pi underscore dictionary. And to be able to define it, we should use key and double column and our values. Here, my first value is Muhammad and second value is Ali. And it is our main skeleton for dictionaries. If I go to another example here, I say, okay, dictionary equal to key value and value. Again, key, it is first key, that one is second key, value 1 and value 2. Right? So if I want to see the first values, I need to write here as an index, göz. In Turkish, göz means eye or vision. In this example, I try to give the keys as a Turkish word, and it is English versions, like dictionary. For example, göz has two different English translation words, like eye, vision, yol, road, path, or way, right? If you remember in the list week or list topic, we were calling the elements of list by using index numbers like 0, 1, 2, right? But here we are using our key values as it is. So it can be string, it can be number, it can be anything, right? So it's more flexible. So we call values not with their index numbers, but with their key values. Let's go to Anaconda now. Okay, again, I define same example, and I want to return first value by using its key. It goes here. As you can see, it's returning I am vision. And if I put here 0, it's going to give error. So we can't use no index numbers in dictionaries. I can print all dictionary keys values by using its name as it is. And adding key values. Let's say, again, same example, I'm a dictionary. I try to add one more key and value. It is third key here. I say equal to mind and intelligence. If I print my dictionary current version now, I will see key 1, value 1, key 2, value 2, and now I just edit key 3 and value 3, right? And to be able to print my keys or values or both, again, we can use a loop like for loop. And here, to be able to print values, I can use values function. To be able to print keys, I can use keys. To be able to print both key and value, I can use items. Okay, first of all, let's see how it works in Anaconda. Okay, again, first of all, let me show you what was our dictionary. Okay, here now we have 1 and 2 keys and 1 and 2 values, right? If I try to add one more key and values end of the list, we can exactly use like this. I say, okay, I call our third key and its values are mind and intelligence, right? As you can see, we updated our dictionary and I just copy from here and paste it and I try to print as it is key 1, value 1, key 2, value 2, key 3, value 3, right? So if I want to print my keys of dictionary variable, I can use for loop and keys methods. As you can see, it's gonna just print only the key values goes yol and equal. And if I want to print only values of the keys, I can use this time values function. As you can see, it's just only prints values. And if I want to print all keys and value together, side by side or next by each other, we can use items function and for loop. If you pay attention, you will see here we define 1 and 2 variables inside of for loop this time, right? And key will correspond to keys, value will correspond to values. Okay. In operator in dictionaries, when we query a key value that is not in a dictionary, we will get error. To avoid such an error, the in operator can be used. Okay, let's say I define one more dictionary variables by using dictionary. My key 1 here, values here, key 2, and values 2. And if I try to check what is the values of column key inside of my dictionary, as there is no column here, we will see error, right? If we don't want to see error before querying these column uh, values, we can use in and if together. Let me show you understand better. Okay, again, I define my dictionary here. And if I ask, okay, what is the values of column keywords or keyword, it will give error as it's not inside of this dictionary. So I just make an example here by using if and in. Again, this time it's asking us to put something here to query inside of our variable. Again, I will write column, and this time it just say column is not found in the dictionary because I put if else condition here and in operator. So if I put any value by using my keyboard, it's gonna check it. If it is inside in dictionary, if yes, it's gonna return it. If no, it's gonna return, okay, this word is not found in dictionary. Let's run one more time. If I ask some key inside of my dictionary, it's gonna return its values. And yep, it is same example, we saw it. And again, dictionaries also have methods. In this slides, we will explain them. Dictionaries, just like lists and strings we saw from previous weeks, provide many built-in functions and features. These features make working with dictionaries easier and more efficient. Among them, we will focus only on the most commonly used ones in this section, right? They are keys. It returns all the keys in dictionary. And values, it returns all the values stored in dictionary. And items, it returns all key value pairs as tuples. Okay, if we have dictionary variables like these, key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4, and key 5, and variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4, variable 5. And if I print the keys inside of my variable, we will see göz, yol, kalp, ışık, and akıl. And if I want to see values inside of my variable, I can use values function, and we will see only the values inside of my dictionary variable. And if I want to see all together, again, I can use items function and for loop with two variables, and we will see like this. And in other methods, we can see get. It returns the value of key safely. It means if we ask the key, which is not inside of my variable, it will not return error this time because I'm using get function. I will explain more by examples. And pop, if you remember this pop, it removes the key value pair and returns its value. Copy creates a shallow copy of dictionary, and update adds or updates elements from another dictionary. If we see again example here, okay, I'm asking, could you please return the value of your key? If we see it is here, our key 2, so it's going to return these values, as you can see. But if I ask Dennis as a keyword, right? If we check dictionary variable, there is no Dennis keyword. So it will return not found strings like this. So you can write everything here in case there is no this kind of, or there is no keywords like you asking here. It's gonna return not found. For pop example here, I say okay, removed variable equal to dictionary pop kalp. So it's gonna go here and take this key and values and remove it. And it's gonna appoint removed these variables. I mean, these variables is gonna be appointed to removed variable. And then if I check dictionary, we will not see kalp and its values anymore, right? And for copy function, let's say I say, okay, I define a new variable like new underscore dictionary equal to dictionary copy, And if I print it, I will see as it is. And if I do any updates or any operations on my new dictionary variables, our original variable dictionary will not be affected. You can see and you can try and see. And for updating something to my dictionary, I'm using update function, and I add here one key and two uh, values. And if I print it, I will see my new key and its values here. Okay, now we can go to Anaconda to see our methods here. I'm defining one dictionary, one, two, three, four, and five different keys and five different values. And if I want to see keys, I'm using keys function, and I will just print it by using for loop. And here again, likewise, this time I print all values, all keys, and it's all very values by using for. And in the next function, we can also sort our keys by using alphabetical order. This time I'm using sorted function. Again, I can print them as an alphabetical order. And here I define again dictionary. And if I use keys, like I said before, again, we can see all keys together. If I use values, I will see values all together. And if I use items, I will see all keys and variables together, right? Here again, I will print all keys and their values by using for loop and items function. And we can also print all keys and values by using again two different variables and one for loop. If I try to take the values of your keyword, I can use get function. And if I ask the keys, which is not inside of my variable, this time, as I use get, I will see not found string here. And for pop, again, we saw them on the slides. You can go and check one more time. It's going to remove calp and its values. Also, it will appoint these values to removed variable here, as you can see. And if I print my dictionary, I will not see calp keyword and its values anymore. And here I just copy dictionary variables to new underscore dictionary variables. Like as you can see, it is same here. And if I remove the girls key and its values, I can use pop. As you can see now, it's just gone. And if I check my original dictionary, if it's also removed from my original dictionary or not, as you can see, it is still here because we use copy function here. That's why it's not affected. And here we have update function. If I try to add one more, key and variable, I can use update. As you can see, it is coming end of to my dictionary. And also we can add by using a for loop. I mean, we can add new keys and variables by using for loop. As you can see here, it is adding end of the dictionary. And transferring data from file to a dictionary. Also, we can do it. I mean, we can transfer data from file to our dictionary, like last week, input output operations. First of all, I created one student that takes the file and I copy and paste these for different lines. Then I will use with open and read modes by using with open lines or code here. In this way, once we finish our work about input output operations, it's gonna close our txt file. You can use it. And I define here students dictionary, and I open here for loop. And this time it's gonna remove unnecessary spaces in our lines. If it is, then it's gonna split our lines by using split function, like this, like this, like this. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we have 4 different variables here. So it's gonna appoint them in order to our dictionary, and for keys, it's gonna take these student numbers, as you can see, and we will print by using p. I think I did some mistake here. Let me go to Anaconda and check together. Okay, yep, as you can see, it's the correct one. And if I run it, as you can see, the keys are our student IDs and variables like department, computer engineer. So if I go to my data, here it is student txt file. So we took our data from my desktop.txt file, then we appoint them to inside of my dictionary I define here. And also we can create a menu with dictionary. As you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3 different functions, and I'm asking to user, okay, could you please choose your choice, or could you please enter your choice? Here we have 1, 2, and 3 choices, and I also define here dictionary. If user input 1, our our choice variable will be 1, and it's gonna be keyword as a 1, right? So it will come here. I mean, keyword 1, corresponds to inside of this menu, add student. So it will be menu, add student, and bracket. It is coming from here, as you can see, right? So it will call this function here, and it's gonna return, okay, student registration function. As you can see here, first of all, it is running and asking, okay, which operation would you like to perform? And if I put 1, it's gonna call the first function and it will print student registration function. Okay, let's go to Anaconda and see how it works again. Same example here. And once I run it, okay, this time I will say 2, right? If I say 2, this choice variable will be 2. Let me write for you here. Choice. Sorry for typo. It will be 2. So it will come here as a 2. Many 2 means show. It is that one. So it's gonna return like this. And show class list function will be called here, and it's gonna return class list function. Let's see. I hope it's clear. And we can continue with slide here again. Okay. In Python, any data type can contain another data type, allowing us to combine different types together. For example, a list can hold strings, numbers, or even dictionaries. As you can see, I give an example here. It is our dictionary, and I put key and variables like this, key values, key 2, value 2, key 1, value 1, key 3, value 3 here, right? So our keys, strings, and our values, list, and inside of list, we have string again. If I put here, okay, go to dictionary girls key, it is that one, the first one, and the element with index number 0. So it's going to return I. Also, we have enumerate function to iterate over a list. For example, that one. Okay, let's say we have a list here with apple, banana, and cherry strings. And if I write for item in enumerate apple, banana, and cherry, it's going to return by its index numbers and values, if you can see, right? So let's go to Anaconda and see how it works. Okay, to the first one, I define dictionary and with keys and values, and my keys are strings and my values are lists, so two different data types. And if I want to print the girls keywords values and the first one I can go there by using dictionary. Okay, my index is girls and the first element is index number 0, right? So it's going to return I. So again, I'm using here enumerate to iterate over a list, and it's going to return our index and values as a tuple. And again, one more example here, how we can use enumerate, I show here. Thank you very much for joining this week. See you next week.